Welcome to episode 14 of season 6 of Whole Lot of Wolves. I'm Joshua Buckley with co-host Paul LePage.
Howdy.
Back producing this week is Alex Patakis.
Hey, guys.
Danny is sick tonight. He's in our prayers. Lots to talk about on the coaching front, but first, we do have to cover the disaster that was Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. It was the one and only match under James Collins, who was the U21's coach, and it was a stinker. They came out flat. It was awful all the way around. But, Paul, there was one highlight, and that was Matthias Mane looked like he belonged. Got some minutes.
It was good to see a young player getting a chance, obviously. No fear, approached it in the right type of way. Drew the most obvious foul that you could ever get fouled for, which ultimately ended up going to the opposition, bizarrely. So you could say it was an eventful debut as far as that went, but that's some of the bright spots that you're looking for to try and get something out this season.
I'll be honest, there's nothing else I can remember about that match when I watched it.
No shots on target. What else? A Manetzi threw on goal, possible chance that didn't test the keeper. Yeah, that was about it.
Paul remembers all the heartbreak. I just stopped paying attention halfway through. But now we all get to turn our attention to our new manager, former Wolves defender Rob Edwards. He's Vitor's replacement. He leaves Middlesbrough, who are not very pleased about it, Alex.
Yeah, they're not. But at the end of the day, we paid the fee that we had to pay to get him, and I think that anyone who understands Rob Edwards and his past would understand why this is still a good job. He had them second in the championship. You can make the argument that Wolves and Middlesbrough are just as likely to be in the Premier League and Championship next season. Like, both are just equally as likely, although I think it's more likely that Middlesbrough be in the Premier League. But this is a move that makes sense for him personally. So they can be mad all they want, but at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for him to come to a club that he knows, that he feels an affinity for, where his family still lives very close by, and a raise. It's kind of nice to be the bigger club in this instance for once. We don't get to say that a lot when it comes to transfer dealings and coaches moving around, but this is one of those instances. So, oh well, sorry.
I do find it funny that the reports that the owner was going to stick Rob Edwards with the hotel tab for all the time that he spent over there. That's sour grapes, but I get it. We'd probably be feeling the same way if it was us. He signs a 3.5-year deal, Paul, and so that leads a lot of us to think, well, is he the appointment looking ahead to the future of we're probably getting relegated? Hey, this is going to be the guy to get us back up to the Premier League after spending 26-27 in the championship. Is that your feeling as well?
Yeah, I think it's got to be, actually, in that it's really last chance saloon for Jeff Shee for this type of appointment. And he's banking on a number of factors, being Edwards' past affiliation with the club, all of the positives that exist there, but at the same time knowing that he's got to at least get the team putting up some fight, even if we do go down, to say that, at least they tried, at least we took it to as far as possible in order to try and stay up. Hopefully we get a nucleus of a side to keep, to bounce straight back up, being that he's a young coach, good ideas, has experience in that league to try and do it. I think the gamble is that if it's, I don't think it's going to be a disastrous appointment, but if it's just a minor splash in the water about what we can do in going down, maybe the fan discontent forces him out if there's a bad start to next season. So I think that's part of it, that she's gambling based on ultimately if he can keep us up and be phenomenal, or if we do go down, then we've gone down fighting, and there's still enough momentum that he can use it, and Edwards can use it favourably to try and turn it around.
So that's my biggest concern, Alex, is will Wolves fans have the patience to still back and support Rob Edwards if when Wolves go down into the championship? Do you actually think Wolves fans are going to be like, cool, yeah, let's let's roll with this guy?
I think there's a good chance. I think what's important in this scenario is just the type of football that we'll be watching. Like if it's anything like what we have been watching, and that's the way we end up kind of heading towards relegation, I don't necessarily think. I think then maybe there's a little bit less patience and a little bit less excitement from the fans when it comes to next season. But I think if he has them playing. If he has them playing something cohesive, something that we can recognize from week to week, and it just so happens that we come up short and we end up getting relegated, I could see that patience being there. And it's also, I think it's a different circumstance when you're looking at who he is as a guy, right? Like we know he has an affinity for the club. That's something fans can get behind. I don't really see him saying anything in the media that's going to get him into any type of hot water. I don't necessarily see him falling out with our players the way like previous managers have. So a combination of all of those different things, I think, makes it so that it'd be likely that we can still be backing the manager. And also, there's a weird unifying factor within the Wolves community, and that most of our angst is almost always targeted towards Fosun at this point. And I think it's very likely that Rob Edwards will get the empathy and sympathy from Wolves fans, and that he was willing to come in and take this job, knowing what he's getting into, knowing who he's working for, and knowing what a big challenge it is based on where they are in the table right now with only 2 points and no wins since April, right? So I think that buys him a lot in the emotional bank of Wolves fans, and barring them just really looking like they're not really playing for him and really looking like they're not an organized team, I think it can go well. I think it's a smart move.
I just worry if there's a couple of lineups in a row people don't like, then we're going to be seeing hashtag Edwards out. And then it's just, we have to have patience at sometimes, guys. Let's unite as Wolves fans. Let's have patience. Somebody that Fosun has way too much patience for is Jeff Shee, who I love this comment. We need to refresh the whole club. Then he went on talking about the coach, blah, blah, blah. Is there a more tone deaf statement, Paul, than trying to be like, oh, we need to refresh the club with a new coach?
It's like a refresh every 6 months, though. Wasn't Pereira's a refresh, and Teti, and this whole giving him a more of a manager title and having that remit, and that's flip-flop between Hobbs as director of football, and then a bit more Mendes, less, and Nuno. So it's like make your bed and sleep in it. The thing, like, what these individuals are always looking towards is the likes of like Brighton being the model and that contingency, and that's because they have a very stable, solid football structure in place with football people at the helm who know what the F they're doing, whereas we've got this joker, this chancer, who's just throwing darts against the wall, hoping they can stick, and flip-flopping every 3 to 6 months. That's no way to operate a football club from the football side. Commercially, stability, it's non-existent. So unless any of that changes, then he can talk about it all he wants, but he's the root cause of that whole problem.
Well, I'll give she credit in this. I just ran this through a AI detector, and it's 0% chance that it was written by AI. That was written by a human, so probably not him. But hey, at least we're not using Chat GPT, so that's good. Cole, do Wolves have a culture and a leadership problem that needs to be addressed, Alex?
Yeah, yeah, I think so in a major way. I don't know who would you point to as a leader on this team right now. I don't know who you
So,
can. Yeah, it's just there's no obvious answer. So that yes, that's 100% an issue at the moment, and um, I don't know that Rob Edwards necessarily fixes that. Because you can't change over the squad right away, and anything that you can do in January to refresh the squad, it's very unlikely that you would see some significant leaders coming to this club, given our position. So it is a bit concerning. I'm not going to lie. But if he can galvanize some of the players who do still seem like they, play, whether it be for their own pride or for the badge on a week-to-week basis, instead of alienating them and then sitting them and having them on a bench, I'm talking like the João Gomez's of the world, then at least we could be taking a step in the right direction from that regard. But it's a serious issue. I mean, we used to like joke about the captain thing, and now it's like it's that we can't even joke about it anymore because we really truly don't know on a week to week basis who's going to be wearing the armband, whether or not they're going to be in the squad. We don't have we have no clue. The leadership council, I guess, that was developed under Vitor was made up of players who were like barely getting into the team at all towards the
Who
end.
was that? It was Saw, Toti,
Toti was supposed to be the club captain, I guess, for a minute there.
João, and who was the fourth
JSL,
one?
wasn't it?
It was JSL.
I think so.
And I mean,
Vitor said, "How about this for a captain's curse? Not just one, but 4 guys we're gonna hose over."
Yeah, just multiply that thing out and curse the whole squad. Why don't you? My God.
I think culturally, what's important is Rob Edwards has got a bigger challenge, if not bigger, when it comes to culture, teamwork, all the ethics behind it, as Kenny Jackett did when he took over Wolves in League One. Arguably, he's got an incendiary squad that you've got the likes of Andre, who could be voicing concerns over playing time around the World Cup, potentially João Gomez as well. JSL, potentially still issues from getting butthurt after not leaving in the summer. He's contending with all of that at the same time as being in the biggest league in the world for a club 8 points adrift at the bottom of the league, trying to keep him up. So I think that factors into his appointment. I think that factors into probably getting a longer leash if relegation does happen, because maybe he's got a fragmented, somewhat alienated squad that could start to see departures as early as January that may need fully rebuilding in the summer. So I think the culture element of it can't be understated at all.
So now we've got a week and a half till the next match. So that gives us plenty of time to guess the formation and the lineup, Alex. What do you think Edwards is going to install here?
Oh man, this is another one. I have no clue. I truly don't. I guess if you look at some of the things that his teams have played in the past, maybe you can try to project that out. But it truly feels like one of these situations where it will just be like the best 11 of the moment and try to go from there. And there's also a lot of guys who are not in the building because of internationals. So that also makes it very difficult. I do think that a new manager coming in is a good opportunity to start fresh in a sense that it can be a little bit more of a meritocracy. Like he has a lot more leeway when it comes to playing sitting guys who are out of form, who may be still getting games no matter what. Looking at you, JSL, than a manager who was already here before and was I guess trying to hang on to whatever was left of the dressing room, right? So, I I don't know. I all I could say is that I feel like we'll see players. I'm hoping we're seeing players play in their position as a result, because there's so little that you can actually do in the amount of time that he'll have to get ready for the Palace match. I mean, like Krejci as a center back, these types of things, like no weird experimental situations with him as a midfielder. Who knows if John Stone will remain the number one? Like, does this have to be a conversation again? Because I feel like every time we change managers, we change keepers for a second. God, I'm dreading this so much.
I was thinking like a back to basics, get some English players that know the league to start and play, but there aren't any, so they don't exist anymore.
Nope.
It's Tommy Doyle down the road at Birmingham. That's it, So he can't be looking at that British grit and knowledge of the league and understanding of the fans to pull the team around, because there's no one there with that background.
How many people already turn on Rob Edwards when his first starting 11 has Manetzi and Kiana Hoover and Hoang in it?
I mean,
because they could happen. They could happen.
I could be.
But then the flip side of that is, whenever there's a managerial change around, there's always those who come out of left field that you totally write off, that all of a sudden are on fire. And it's just looking around thinking, well, who the heck could that possibly be? Because it seems like there's very little talent to pick from when it comes to all of that. But does somehow Marshall Manetzi go on a tear as like a more forward midfield player in a 3-4-2-1? That first 11 is going to be illuminating for sure.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that player that just steps up out of nowhere is going to be Wolfie. I got to feel
really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because Paul's right. There is always somebody where you're like, man, where the hell did this guy come from? And, it feels like Wang's already done that once. I don't see him pulling it out again. So, yeah, go Wolfie. So the rest of his staff, he has Harry Watling. He's a 35-year-old career coach, spent time in Connecticut. Some talk of some former players. Lescott coming in. And more interestingly, Wrexham's favorite, Connor Cody. Paul, what are the chances of this happening?
I think, again, that's more of a stretch to get the fans back on side. That if you got Cody in, there's that even increased understanding of what it means from the management staff, and having that understanding of the fan base at the same time. Personally, I love it. Probably for him, I'm not sure how you approach it when you look at career aspirations of going into coaching, but maybe a first team involved position, maybe a bit too much at that stage, where he has to kind of put in the hard yards on the training pitch with the youth teams, maybe, and the under 23s first. It does feel like it would be a jump to effectively have him 1 minute playing and then in the next on the bench coaching, or having input certainly for the first team in the Premier League.
What do you think, Alex? Would you be down for a Connor Cody return?
Yeah, in that sense, yes. I think I would. In previous years, we've been talking about bringing him back to actually play like a real role on the field. That is just something that I feel like we really needed to move on from. But from this regard, yeah, whether it's a more of a PR related move to get fans back on side or what, he is a real leader. He is another person who cares deeply about this club, and that's what we need, right? Because that's what's so difficult, and that's what's so hard with Fosun's recruitment strategy, which I will say with air quotes to begin with, is that the way that they bring talent in and out of this club and view it as a kind of just like a stepping stone onto bigger and better things and bigger clubs. It's really hard to find guys who actually really care after a while. It's very hard to find that buy-in. So when things start to go wrong, a lot of players start to kind of show their true colors in the sense that like maybe they're not up for that fight because they're really not here for that for the long run in general. Cody's like kind of the opposite of that. He's someone that I feel like has proven himself and would be able to I guess kind of like call people out from that regard. And sometimes people need to hear that, like there needs to be some of that. And I don't always, and we don't know because we're not there every day and we don't get that kind of access to the club. But I also feel like that's hard to do when there's a lot of coaches who do the same thing in that manner, right? Like the way we bring in coach, like relying on the George Mendes carousel for both coaches and players breeds the same result. It breeds a bunch of people who aren't familiar with the culture within the club. It creates this almost culture of just a bunch of people who are just passing through, right? Like passing through, collecting a check. Cody's the opposite of all of that, right? So I think it's no coincidence that they're looking for a bunch of guys who have that type of connection with the fan base. I think it's needed. I don't know where else to go from here, really, honestly. There's no more like sexy name that's going to come in and be a savior and come out of nowhere for this club. We're just not at that point any longer. So,
well, I know one person this week that was really pushing that needed some good English players was one of Wolves fans' own Jackie Oatley, the great commentator. She was on a news show when the news broke about Edwards' impending appointment, and it was a guest on Talk Sports, and she gave the most damning indictment of Fosun ownership and Jeff Shee in front of a national audience. Danny Reed cut it, retweeted it. It's been going like gold mines. He's being exposed for the little Muppet he is. Let's see. Let's listen to that video, Paul.
The big problem at Wolves, we can talk about formations and fullbacks and Brazilian midfielders as much as you like. The big problem at Wolverhampton Wanderers is the chairman, Jeff Shee, and the ownership, Fosun, who really have Wolves as a tiny little drop in their investment ocean. They don't really matter a huge amount to them. How much they're even keeping an eye on Wolves being bottom of the table, how much they even know how drastically the income will be slashed if and when they fall to the Championship is not clear. All Jeff Shee's communications are utterly random, utterly bizarre. He doesn't seem to get the people at the club. There are some fabulous human beings at Wolverhampton Wanderers at all levels of the club, but they're all being led by somebody who treats them with disdain in terms of their views, their thoughts, the direction of travel, the stadium. What happened to the new stadium? Where's the renovation of the stadium? Where's the conversation about what's happening to the temporary sand in the corner where the fans are getting pelted with rain on match days? What is happening at the club? What is the direction of travel? Where do you want to be? Do you care if they're in the Premier League? Do you care if they are relegated? Will you still be in there?
Love it. Love it. I was glad to see somebody had the courage to do it because I feel like there's so many people that want to come out and say it. And this could affect Jackie. I mean, she could get blackballed from some of these Fosun events because of this. I hope not, because she's a great voice for Wolves fans, along with being a terrific broadcaster. But that was very good. And I hope some higher ups at Fosun saw that.
It was measured. You couldn't say anything was factually incorrect. Even talking to Jeff Shee's impact on the non-playing staff, and it certainly gives a trueness to some of the rumours that we pick up on about staff members that have given a lot for the club behind the scenes that are no longer there, that on the face of it did a really good job. So it just seems from top to bottom at that club with him at the helm, it's rotten, but she was able to put it across in such a way that you couldn't tell that was said with any extravagance or anything like that. So just rewarding to have her as a voice in front of the nation, broadcast internationally, even over here, that we're seeing it and we're getting to watch it in full. And I think it was everything that I wanted to say as a grassroots fan and more.
Absolutely.
Yep. Let's move on to No Stupid Questions, our favorite part of the show, where you, the listener, have an opportunity to ask anything in relation to Wolverhampton Wanderers. You could do so by getting us on X at WLW Pod. You can email the show, hello@wholelotofwolves.com. And for those of you who are watching on the stream here, whether it be on Facebook or on our YouTube channel at Whole Lot of Wolves, you can just throw a question into the chat and we could address it on the spot. So let's start with this question that we got from our frequent guest and friend of show, Drew Breyer. Drew Freakin on X. Remember when Wolves would be linked to good players? What's the minimum number of points by January for someone of note to want to come here? Someone who's actually got Premier League experience or at least more senior games than Per Lopez had. And also who leaves in January, whether deregistered or loaned out.
Well, I think one of the interesting things that we saw was in the John Percy article announcing Edwards' hire today. It said Wolves don't have any non-homegrown spots anymore. Ruh-roh. So I don't know how they're going to solve this. I mean, very clearly they do need to bring in some homegrown, but yeah, are they going to have to loan out some people? Are they going to have to deregister? I still stand by, I think Andre's gone in January, unfortunately. And so they'll probably pick up a midfielder there. There's always people that are going to want to be in the Premier League, even if it's a team like Wolves that are in last. They're still going to want to be in there, showing they can compete at the very least, so they can get another shot in the Premier League the next year. So I'm not too worried about experienced guys wanting to come here. No more than regular.
I think World Cup year will factor into it a little as well. That if you can get guaranteed game time, you're moving maybe from a German league or a French league again. But I think this is where the dynamic of Edwards fits into it again, that we may see some more homegrown talent. He could well fit into why he took the job in the first place, that he's got to have some type of guarantee about shaping and molding the squad in his image, so to say. So does that mean there's players identified that he's going to hope to bring in? Extension of that is as well, are you lucky enough to get someone that either does well and increases their value domestically and could move if we go down because they've put themselves in the shop window and have done well, or you're fortunate that they're still quality enough players that are committed to the club that will stay and to try and help you bounce back. So I think there's a number of factors around the Edwards appointment that has a bearing here as well.
Yeah. And the question was also just regarding like when Wolves would be linked to good players. This past summer kind of felt like the death of that, because there were a couple of players, granted none of them were like established Premier League players, but some players who did excite, and we got rejected by every single one. So at this point, those days feel a little bit gone for the time being. And to Paul's point about molding the squad in the image of Rob Edwards, one thing that this club I feel like has not done much of, that people are always crying out for them to do, is to shop in the championship too. Like, that's an easy way to get players who are made out for this this scrap, I guess, and who would stick around if in fact we do go down next season. So some of those guys would be homegrown. They don't necessarily have to be, but I just think that that's a sensible thing to do. And I'm always shocked for a team that's perennially towards the bottom of the table the past few years that there's just no interest in that. And I don't know if that's just because there's not a lot of Mendez clients in the championship or what. Like, what are we doing with that? But anyway, let's move on to this from Wolfman Jeff, Soccer in the South on X. There was talk of selling JSL in the summer for some big money. Based on this season, I'm confident his market value has dropped. Which current player has raised his market value this season? Who has improved their worth?
Ooh. Oh God, you guys are gonna hate me. Mario Benetti is the only one I think that's improved his worth.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if I pray to God this Krejci deal is like for sure we can purchase it on this, because otherwise his value's gone super higher, and whatever we're bringing him in at is going to be a deal. Hopefully we can lock that down. That probably will be a move in January, I'd imagine, Paul, is them just going ahead making that permanent.
I think so. It's like right now, even you're probably looking at him thinking he's at his value, or maybe that's dipped a little after some recent performances where out the gate he looked to steal. And I'm factoring in things like Benetti, yeah, maybe, but he's the wrong side of 30 now, or approaching it at least. So he's not going to get that appreciation based on his age. Cy Waldron, no love for Hugo Berno. No, I think he's been distinctly championship, and that was he's probably shown nothing so far to say that he's kicked on from when he first broke into the team even. So I'd be clutching at straws to see if there's any raises at all.
And herein is the problem, because this whole squad is run purchasing young players and having their value increase and then selling. And we can't name one player on the squad that has improved their value right now. Not one that we could say with confidence. That says it all right there. That says exactly why we are where we are.
Yeah. No notes, nothing to add. But we were talking about JSL decreasing his value. So while we're on that topic, here's this one from Minnesota Todd in the chat. With his new hip, can Josh run faster than Jurgen Strand Larsen?
Hey, I tell you what, this week I was able to put socks on my left foot for the first time in 9 months. So I'm feeling good. Let's go, JSL. Let's run it out.
Not far off, right?
Yeah, I've been walking 1.5 miles every day. Like, I can do it. I can at least, compete him in a sulk off.
Yeah. Which makes one wonder what Tolu has to do to get some run of the team. If off a hip replacement, Josh is nearly just as fit. Let's go on to Sai, who submitted his question, saying, "Is it okay for a former player to celebrate scoring against their old club? Asking for my friend Pedro Neto."
That's you. That's all you, Alex.
I've maxed out my my anger at Pedro Neto. There's no point in continuing down this road. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like what pissed me off originally was just that it wasn't his own goal, right? And then to do the celebration with the fingers in the ears thing is just such a clear I don't even know what actually it's very unclear to me because I don't think he gets any stick from Wolves fans. In fact, I never thought he did get any stick from Wolves fans, which is surprising given how quickly we can turn on somebody and how little he was actually on the pitch. And this guy had tremendous potential. He was a very exciting player. But the fact of the matter is, like a good portion of his Wolves tenure, he wasn't available. And we didn't even give him shit for that, unless I'm just misremembering. So what that celebration was about, I really don't know. Why he just can't operate with some level of just decency to the club that seems like it was very good to him. It got him the move he wanted, didn't get in the way at all. Yeah, I don't know, but you do you, man. Go ahead. Just now he's just there's something about when players go to Chelsea too that's like no matter what, they increase their hateability. Like watching him run around opposite of Garnacho, who was so hateable on Man United and somehow is even more hateable now. It's like it's ridiculous. I just can't.
Man, remember 16 months ago, he was like, all Wolves didn't want to leave, and we met him in Fort Lauderdale, and nice guy, and
yeah, I do remember that. Remember that photo? It was like him. We all took photos with him.
yeah,
Mario
I'm looking
Lemina,
at this jersey
Nelson
with
Semedo.
nobody else fucking on this team. At least I got Bully to sign it.
That's contingency for you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the Neto thing, obviously I got angry, but it's also to the point now where I'm just like many things with Wolves, I'm just like apathetic at this point. Like I don't have any anger left in me. I'm tapped out. So that's all I got. Another question from Minnesota Todd, who emailed also hello@wholelotofwolves.com. If the squad was to enter a British bake-off style competition, which player would be the first to go? Which one would make it to the final, only to have a disastrous final bake? And which one would win?
Okay, first to go is Saar. Like too adventurous and really mess it up. My finalist that would ultimately crash at the last hurdle, somewhat of a dark horse, Sam Johnson. Kind of very methodical, knows what he's doing, but ultimately just hasn't got that final thing. My winner, you might be surprised about this. Don't know why I've picked him. It just looks like it is Santi Bueno.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
Interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but I like it. I
could have called someone a master baker, but I didn't.
So the guy I think flames out first is Doc, Matt Doherty. I don't know. I can just see him just going, I don't care about this. Whatever. I think Tolu I can see as a sneaky making it to the finals. He seems to have a little sophistication. What good is some tea without some cake as well? Huh? And the winner is because he was told that he needed to make something to prove his love to his wife. Rodrigo Gomez wins the competition.
Okay, nice. That's funny because
look, and Danny even said it. Oh, Danny said the exact.
No, he has him going out first, which I actually agree with. That's what popped in mind for me. But that's funny because if it was like for like Valentine's Day or something, then maybe it's a different.
He would take it serious. He would big time.
Yeah, Danny has him going out first because he says he won't even read the recipe before he starts. He's just like awesome, running around the kitchen with the wind blowing in his hair, all hectic. Like that's all that really. I feel like the image of him that it would be the same in the kitchen as it would be on the pitch. I love the Saw shout for out first. That from what I understand, the difference between baking and cooking is baking is so exacting that like following the recipe is so essential. Whereas with cooking, there's a little more leeway. Some people like to even cook without exact measurements. I don't see Saw as that kind of like that exacting type of guy. That's just not his vibe. So I'm definitely with Paul on that one. I feel like João Gomez could be a man of many talents. You give him a couple goes in the, I'll have him like kind of crashing out in the final, but making it kind of far, surprising us a little bit. He's just one of those guys when he puts his heart into something, I feel like he does pretty well. And winning the whole thing, God, that's a tough one. Yeah, I like the Tolu thing. That there's something about tea, and right.
I mean, can you just see this 6'6" baking savant?
Yeah, like needs like a custom, has like some type of like custom apron that says like tea time on it. Yeah, getting really into that. I don't know. So that'll be
who else
my
would
lineup.
would really stink at it would be JSL, because halfway through he'd just go, screw it, and walk off.
Yeah. Just be like, I go buy one.
When
of
he
these in the
found out
store.
that it wasn't on primetime TV, I'm wasting my time here.
So you're really, so you've come a long way on JSL, Josh. You're like you've taken a few shots here and there tonight when you can. Are we all kind of in that boat now?
I talk to Stu too much is what's going on.
Okay. God, we could have got that money. Could have got that money, just signed Tolu, and I guarantee we would have fewer points than we have now in the league. Maybe we would have got Voltamade or whatever, and who knows what that could have been.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. He's a guy.
What are you drinking tonight, Alex?
Cheers. I don't know. If you sell Strand Larson, maybe there could have been funds for that. He looks like someone who could bake. Actually, he would be like at a hipster bakery in Williamsburg, Brooklyn here or something.
Powdered sugar.
Oh yeah. All right. Let's go to this question from Stu. You mentioned Stu, last week's guest, of course, and of Stu of the Wolves fan cast. There have been many comments about Rob Edwards' good looks, which has prompted Stu of the fan cast to ask, how long before he morphs into Ian Dowie through stress? Now, I had to obviously get a little bit of education, do a little Google image search on Ian Dowie, but Paul obviously knows damn well who that is.
I don't think he'll go full Ian Dowie. Ian Dowie, with all due respect, certainly isn't an oil painting as far as looks goes. Not that I can cast too much judgment, but the term "only a face that a mother can love" is quite apt. But he is quite adept at scoring bangers at Molineux, so we can't forget that. He did score a cracker for Palace in the FA Cup back in '94, knocking us out. But I think it's not going to be that much deterioration, but I could definitely see, when they do the portraits of the president at the start of the term and the end of the term, and like Obama went from like bright kind of shiny face, very few grey hairs, to just like sullen and like look like death towards the end, then it could be close to more like that.
I think it'll definitely be right before the championship season starts, and he realized he also has been hoodwinked by Fosun, and we had no incomings until the end of the window.
Come on, why do you got to do that?
I'm good.
He's got to know.
Track record.
He's got to know. No one can fall for this anymore. There can't be any more of this, right? Like it's happened too many times.
He's been in the building to see it happen as well, or had very close proximity to what was going on. So
yeah, he knows too many people.
Know it. Yeah.
He knows too many people who know not to believe any of that hype. He is a good-looking man. That's kind of fun. For whatever reason, it's better than having the like if we had Steve Cooper, right, Josh? Like you were always saying how much that would just
there was the legit concern that when I was seeing Steve Cooper's name bandied around, I was like, oh no, am I going to have
Yeah.
to support somebody who I've been just making fun of for 6 years?
Yeah. And we can't even say that he won't be a good manager because he's English, because he's not English. So there's that whole like English manager thing that just seems to almost never pan out right now in the Premier League, and we got ourselves a Welshman, so that's positive. So the vibes are I wouldn't say they're high, but the vibes they're okay, I think.
I just can't wait to see what his gimmick is because Lopetegui had the pizza and the going out to dinner, and Gary O'Neill had the iPad and drawing the stuff on Monday Night Football, and then we had Vitor with first the points, then the pints. What's a Rob Edwards thing gonna be? I don't know.
Look good, feel good, play good. I don't know. Or how about do your effing job? I don't know. Yeah, Danny says vibes leveling off. Okay, no longer sinking. Exactly.
No.
It can't get any lower. So like, let's all just enjoy this while we can right now. New manager bounce coming after the break. We hope. Yeah. So I think that's all for No Stupid Questions for this week. Thanks to everybody who wrote them in, and keep them coming every week. Hello at wholelotofwolves.com, at WLW Pod on X.
So anticipation for our mighty charge into the championship next year. I'm starting a new segment here called the Paramount Plus Watch of the Week. Paramount Plus being the official streaming home of English Championship football. My watch of the week this week is The Running Man, not the one that's coming out in theaters, the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger beauty. The synopsis: in the year 2019, America is a totalitarian state where the favorite television program is The Running Man, a game show in which prisoners must run to freedom to avoid a brutal death. Having been made a scapegoat by the government, an imprisoned Ben Rogers, played by the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, has the opportunity to make it back to the outside again by being a contestant on the deadly show. Although the twisted host, Damian Killian, played by Family Feud host and resident creep Richard Dawson, has no intention of letting him escape. One of my favorite movies. Paul, have you seen The Running Man?
Too long ago to remember if I have.
What about you, Alex?
I have not, but I do have Paramount Plus, so.
Oh, you need to watch it. This is pure genius. Like, Arnold's known for violence and cheesy catchphrases, and this is just one of his chef's kiss for this. Just all the cheesy one-liners he has after killing these stalkers who are coming after him. This one, scale 1 to 5 stars, I give it 4.5 stars. One of my favorite 80 movies, probably my second favorite Arnold movie before the original Predator, or right after the original Predator. So be sure and check it out. Paramount Plus subscription. You can subscribe on an annual basis. Maybe that needs to be our new sponsor, Paul. Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to Danny on the socials, Alex producing, and our audience, as this show is wholly for you. You be doing us a huge favour, helping grow the Whole Lot of Wolves pack by giving us a 5-star review on that podcast platform, podcast platform of choice that you use, and heading over, if you haven't done so already, and checking out our content on YouTube. Subscribe there for all the latest when we go live and share our content. We will be back pretty much this time next week for a dedicated preview show of Rob Edwards' first game. That will be at home to Crystal Palace on Saturday, November the 22nd. So let's not sink anymore. Let's go Rob Edwards' Barmy Army and up the mighty Wolves.